What's up guys, this is Rob from Ungeek. We are less than a day away from the official launch of the much awaited Final Fantasy VII Remake. And while the reviews for the game have come up, you can see our full review in the description below or click on the eye on the top of your screen for our reasons why this game is a masterpiece. The hype train is definitely going full steam ahead. And just to show you how hyped gamers here in the Philippines are, we have gathered 4 of the country's gaming personalities to share with us their nostalgia and excitement on Final Fantasy VII Remake. Let's get to it.
Yo, what's up guys? My name is Gloco and I'm a angler, fisherman. Oh, and I do games at the side. Yeah, I do stream sometimes, but yeah. Fishing.
Hi, I'm Luie from omgluie.com. I'm a writer, content creator, and I play and stream video games online.
Hey guys, my name is Riku and I'm an esports caster for League of Legends and other esports titles, and I am also a very huge JRPG fan.
Okay, so my fondest memory of Final Fantasy, there's so many. One thing that kind of just is marked in my memory was the first time I saw the Omni Slash. What happened with me is because I didn't know how to get Omni Slash, so when I fought the final boss with the wings, I'm not gonna say who, you know what I mean? I only had my limit 3, which was final attack, I think. I didn't know that you can get Omni Slash over at Gold Saucer. I didn't know that's how you can get it. I didn't have the 32,000 BP, but I had final attack. But after you beat the final boss, I think everyone knows that you have this final sequence. It slowly builds up to a limit break. There's like this cinematic sequence, and then I saw Omni Slash. I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't have this. And then, of course, I did limit and I saw the Omni Slash, and it just blew my mind. I'm like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And you had that, you know, the close-up in the face, that right? You know what I mean? Yeah, that blew my mind, man. And when I played it again, that's when I got Omni Slash and everything else. I think that was one of my fondest memories. I think Final Fantasy VII was the first experience I've had with a turn-based story game. I played it because everyone was playing it. Back then, you would pay like, what, 15 pesos, 10 pesos an hour at the stores. We didn't have a PlayStation yet. But I just saw whenever I would go to the game spots, I saw everyone playing Final Fantasy. I just saw Cloud walking around everywhere. I'm just like, everyone playing this game. And yeah, I just decided to try it. And that's how I got into the game. Everyone was just playing it. And when I played it, man, I got it. It was one of the best parts of my childhood.
On this moment in Final Fantasy VII, okay, this is a hard question because I don't have just one, I have a lot. And it's hard to choose. There's a moment in Gold Saucer where you can take somebody out on a date. Of course, you want to choose Tifa because duh. That's one moment. Another moment is actually at the very end of the game where everything's like crashing down on you at the end after the battle with Sephiroth. And that cutscene where Cloud kind of like reaches out his hand and you realize that it's Tifa's hand. That's one moment that I really like.
I watched my dad play Final Fantasy VII. I was too young to understand really. All I really remember is a guy with the same hair color as a chocobo and a guy in a purple suit and a big sword, and he slashes many times. That's all I remember. But I guess when I was in high school, I did watch Encounter Final Fantasy VII, and the first thing that really blew my mind was the hair strands and the details of everything. So that was definitely my first like solid encounter to the Final Fantasy VII fandom. Yeah, I was definitely in love with it. The fighting scenes are top notch. Even though I didn't understand most of what's happening, because like who's Sephiroth and who's that guy in black hair in heaven and who's that brown haired lady, you know, like there's so many things that I didn't know what was going on, but because it was visually pleasant and the characters were interesting, you just couldn't help but watch.
My fondest memory of Final Fantasy VII Now, here's the thing. I've never played the original Final Fantasy VII, so I have no idea of the entirety of its lore or the story, the little details and all that stuff. But I was introduced with Final Fantasy VII through Advent Children when my brother and his friends watched it at my house. I think I was like high school back then. As for the fondest memory, it's probably that scene from Advent Children where Bahamut was summoned and then every character from Cloud's party started beating the crap out of Bahamut. It was pretty cool because that was a moment where I got introduced with every character in Cloud's party. Yeah, you know the story.
Again, another tough question to answer because there are a lot of moments I want to see remade in this game. Number one, Gold Saucer. I want to see how they recreate that very, very fun place, how they recreate the mini games, feeding Mog, and so that he can fly and impress that Moogle girl. That battle arena in the Gold Saucer is something that I also want to see. Chocobo racing, of course. The chase scene, Daytona chase scene, where you have to protect the guys in the van and you have to control Cloud on his Daytona. Controls were super crappy back then, so I really want to see how they're going to remake that and make it better. And of course, I think if I had to pick just one moment, it's that slap off between Tifa and Scarlet at the top of that cannon in Midgar right before she whoops Scarlet's ass and then she gets like whisked away in the high wind. It was such an epic moment for me and it totally showed how badass like Tifa is.
For the generation that played Final Fantasy VII, we of course know the story, and Square Enix is saying that they've changed a few things, so those are the things I'm kind of looking forward to as well. What did they change? If I were to change something, two things. I'm sorry, I have to say two. There's a certain scene at the end of Disc 1 where a certain individual descended down and inserted something without consent to another person, which resulted in a very unfortunate and painful sequence of events, and that is how things kind of ended for Disc 1. I am curious to see if that's going to change, but the main thing I would love to also see is there's a certain love triangle, I think. I would love to see kind of that love triangle kind of maybe explored more, and this is something that I think Final Fantasy VII fans for the PlayStation 1 can enjoy. It's the fact that this is the first time in a game that our characters are voiced. So there's gonna be so much more depth in terms of dialogue rather than before we would just read everything, right? I mean, there was no voices. Our characters have voices now. So I would love to see the story with voices. And I think that's just something I'm pretty much looking forward to, that all our characters, all these characters that we loved and got invested in throughout our childhood are gonna be voiced. And I would love to see the dialogue. There was a certain scene where in the trailer, Aerith said that you look like my first love, or you resemble my first love. I think we all know who that is. And Tifa also said when she was a kid, saying that promise you'll protect me when we're older. So you can obviously see that they might be building up to certain situations here. We might be seeing that part of the story, which we all loved, honestly, those two. Yeah, I would like to see how that love triangle happens. Will they remake how Disc 1 ended and maybe explore more? Or will they go for best girl Tifa? I'm sorry, I'm a Tifa fan. I'm sorry, because I just make sense as a person. I'm sorry. But for those who love Aerith, go for it, man. I mean, to each his own. But yeah, Tifa best girl, man, for Final Fantasy VII. Jesse's making a case, though. Whoever's voicing Jesse, making a case, I'm saying. But yeah, I would love to see how the love triangle, I would love to see how that would be remade, maybe, because I think there was just a cliffhanger on how that went. They didn't really give us anything yet, so I would love to see how that goes for this game. Yeah, we don't really know how things end up, so we'll see. Because if you base it on Advent Children, it doesn't look like nothing ever happened between any of these characters at all. I'm just trying to be vague because I don't want to spoil so much, by the way, guys, so I'm being vague. But if you base it on Advent Children, it doesn't look like there's not much of a relationship there. So what happened? Maybe things will be changed for Remake. I don't know. I would love to see that.
I guess what I'm looking forward to, coming from a person who played Crisis Core back then in the PSP, I am definitely looking forward to a lot of references to Zack and the past, and probably maybe even a dream sequence just similar to what we encountered in Final Fantasy VIII, where we played as Laguna. So maybe a little bit something like that, or perhaps just a lot of messed up visions from Cloud, you know, because of his trauma. Now I'm not really sure what to expect after watching the Final Fantasy trailer, the new FF7R trailer. There's just so many overwhelming things. It's just all visually pleasing and it's chaotic in a good way. So at the moment, I'm not really sure what I want changed because everything seems so perfect right now. But just that, I want more Crisis Core references or just Zack references, really.
Again, I've never played the original Final Fantasy VII, but I have seen spoilers and some memes of scenes from the original. Oh yeah, the cross-dressing of Cloud Strife. I saw Tifa's blue dress and Ares' red dress and Cloud's purple dress, and they all looked awesome, so can't wait for that. Hey.
It's definitely when I encountered them first in Advent Children. Like, the fights are so flashy. I love the characters, and it's amazing how the world building is just done so right to the point that anyone can enter the fandom and be amazed. Like, at any point of the FF7 encounter. Like, I don't know, maybe you first encountered them in Dissidia and you'll still fall in love with Cloud and Tifa. Maybe you encounter them in Kingdom Hearts and you'll still be a fan. Like, it's that kind of world and characters that just develop really, really well. So no matter what world you encounter them in, it's just that amazing and you're drawn automatically. So yeah, definitely I was a fan. Advent Children, then Dissidia, then Crisis Core, and then they're basically everywhere. The OST is also amazing, very iconic. The battle theme song, and of course, who can forget? I don't think I've ever encountered someone who doesn't know One Winged Angel, so there's that. I'm excited. I just cannot wait to play Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Well, I'm not a fan yet, but definitely Tifa, man. She just has this really wholesome vibe going on with her, and I love her for that. And also Yuffie, can't wait to learn more about Yuffie. Yeah, I don't really care about anyone else there. Yeah, just Tifa and Yuffie. That's pretty much it.
I don't think there was just a singular moment that made me an FF7 fan, because I don't think I was a fan when the game first came out, because it was such a long time ago and I didn't get to play it in its entirety. But then when I was able to play it when I was a little bit older, I didn't know that video games or role-playing games, RPGs, could be played at such a level. In terms of story, in terms of character development, there's such a depth in Final Fantasy VII that not a lot of RPGs had, in terms of like character death. When they first delved into the type of hatred that Sephiroth had for the world because he wasn't human, the issues of trauma and stuff like that. So I think it isn't just one singular moment within the game, but the whole experience of Final Fantasy VII is definitely what made me a fan and what made the game Final Fantasy VII my most favorite Final Fantasy game out of the entire franchise.
I played 7, 8, 9, and 10. And what got me to be such a fan of 7 was when after I played 8, 9, and 10, I appreciated 7 so much more for the game that it was and the game that it is. Because I liked the story of 8, 9 was pretty okay, 10, I don't know man, it just didn't feel right for me. 10 didn't feel right for me, I'm sorry. But when I played 8, 9, and 10, that's when I appreciated just how good 7 was. I love the materia system. I think that was the best system for me in regards to 7, 8, 9, and 10. I didn't like the junction system for 8. 9 was alright. I think 9 was second best, and the whole 10, I didn't like it. I just love the materia system, and I love to see how the materia system evolves for Final Fantasy Remake. But yeah, man, I think everyone became a fan once they played it, but I became a solid fan of it after I played 8, 9, and 10. I'm just like, man, 7 was just the best. In everything that it was in terms of an RPG back then, 7 had it, man. 7 had it. For the new generation who's never played 7, is gonna be discovering Remake, man, you're in for a ride. I think we're all in for a ride, bro. This is one of the most defining games of a generation. And to be able to play it again, oh man, there you go, here comes the emotions. To be able to play it again, it's gonna be an experience in itself. So it's definitely something to look forward to, and it's just a few more days before it happens. So I'm super excited, man. I'm just super excited. So Square Enix, I know that you guys put so much heart and care into this, and I think the community feels it. So I just want to give a big shout out to Square Enix and the wonderful team behind giving us this again. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, man. We're all in for a wonderful ride and a great adventure.